Welcome to hole number one of the North 9-hole Cup. Now, playing here with the new hole locations on the Nordic Fjords course, I really had a lot of fun here. I think on hole number one, depending, you definitely can bring a Zerk here and try to just play directly over to the second fairway like that. Or I kind of don't mind playing like two top, two right, and adjusting 10% max here on this shot, just like this. And then we're going to give this one max overpower. Depends how you're feeling. You know, a Kingmaker will slow down the needle speed here. So if that's something you're kind of hesitating between, definitely consider that. But I was feeling risky on the first shot here and quite a bad great ball. However, if you set it up in a decent location, you'll find we still are far away from that bunker enough, but it does push us outside a little bit further from the green. It is absolutely very much a must make eagle here on hole number one. This is the kind of shot you need to focus on, and you need to do your best to get this one to drop. I'm eyeing up the Endbringer rule here around 80 or I don't know, 90% or something there. Hard to tell when I'm not actually playing. I play the zero spin method here and check for the bounces on this course. 20% here, and what did I say? Yeah, 75, 80. Yeah, 75%. Check the bounces. There's a lot of glitchy spots on these greens. Even with the new hole locations, they left a lot of that in. Goody, goody. And just be aware of that. You know, the wind here, 2.2 is not a lot to contend with. So this 20% at 75% slider shot tends to get us exactly in the hole. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you enjoy and have good luck in all your rounds. Hole number two, navigator and a sniper here. No move target. In a headwind, I'm playing this with 4 back and 1 left. I probably should have played about 3.5 back here. And, you know, if you've got a tailwind, you need to use a little bit more backspin. But all in all, right from where we set up here with the sniper 9, so take that into consideration. If you have a higher or lower level club, you'll be sitting at a slightly different location. But generally from this landing position, just playing it with that 3 to 5 back or so, 1 bar of left spin. This one comes in very, very nicely. They've changed this one quite drastically and can make it, I think, a bit tough. However, you can see from here, a little bit less backspin, we'd be looking pretty darn good. Hole number 3, this drive here is important, so get it right before we worry about the second shot. I'm at max with the red ring on the right rough, using 4 top, 2 bars of right spin here. Now, if you've got an APOC, basically of any level, you could definitely figure out a good shot to play with that here as well. 10% max. Now, remember, if I'm pulling down into the water, like down the slope, you might want to push this one up a ring. It all depends on, you know, the wind that you're dealt and the way we're going to have to play the hole. So always using at least a ball to 1.5 or max right curl here, depending on the wind angle, once again, to get this one over and down the second fairway here. You know, max right curl there would not have hurt, oh my gosh, at all. Second shot here, you're going to notice I'm using the big dog. Now, you can bring a sniper. If you've got a longer ball and you've got a good level sniper, you can reach. But most low-level snipers will not be adequate here for this play. 3 bars of backspin, which is why I recommend the Viper as well. Whatever one has the better ball guide between the big dog and the Viper will give you a safe play every time. If you've got that low-level sniper and you insist on using it, you might have to just play overpower here and be content with just an eagle, and that's fine. You know, it's a par 5. You don't have to go for albatross every single time, but take a look how close this one comes in. 3 bars of backspin with no ball guide, so to speak. I think, you know, it's definitely the kind of hole that's worth a look. It gives us something to play with. We'll see you on number 4. Hole number 4, navigator and a grizzly. You'll notice I'm playing this shot with no spin. Now that's into a headwind. You might need a little bit of backspin here if you're playing with a tailwind. Just keep that in mind. 10% max is the pull we're going to make here. And I've got like half of that white ring, or just about the clear ring actually, touching the rough there as a little bit of an indicator here. Now I realize you might not have a grizzly 6. You might have a Goliath 5 or whatever it might be. Use the long iron that has the most ball guide, just so that you can give yourself the best look towards the pin. Clean bounce on the fringe for the second one, slows it down nicely, just about where we need it here. Maybe 5 max would have been the perfect number for this win. Hole number 5, this one has changed quite a bit as far as the second shot, but the drive, pick something accurate. With tailwind here, I probably should have just gone 1 bar of topspin. A light headwind, you go 2.5 maybe with a big headwind, and I'm using 2 bars of a left spin always. Now, you'll see I'm checking it out, trying to decide where to be. I've got that red ring touching the rough at max, and I'm going to adjust here 10% max. And then I'm going to use anywhere between half to about 1 ball of left curl. This one's just half because it puts me, in a good position. If I have a strong crosswind here, blowing from left to right, then, you're going to use a little bit more to compensate for that. So as you can see, 1.5 was pushing it. 1 bar of topspin and tailwind is plenty, believe me. Second shot here, I do play around with it a little bit. I am considering like a second bounce rough bump with a horizon, but I don't think it's going to be the shot for everyone here. I end up with about 1 topspin and 2 bars of right spin. You'll notice I'm kind of not happy with this one. It's, you don't want it to come in too hot kind of thing. But then I realized the way that rough is shaped, if I move over to the left a little bit, now I can apply the right spin and we don't need to use as much topspin. So I think anywhere from, 0 top to 1 top here might be perfect, and then 2 bars of right spin. But that ball guide running in very, very nicely to the pin. I think this hole and many others have actually been improved with these new hole locations. I know people like to complain, it's the internet, but I had a lot of fun, and I think that there's a lot of good to come from our Nordic Fjords tournament, and I think we're going to have some fun. So don't forget to check out the live stream. I will be making notes for Pro, and then returning to Master next week for the next full tournament. Hole number 6, this par 4 is actually, I have to double check that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now, you see I'm recommending the Titan. I recommend that in all situations except for this headwind. So I'm showing you this headwind example as an example. But if you're sitting there with the Titan ball, you'll be just at kind of max distance. You might need to use a tiny little bit of overpower. Otherwise, max top here, and we're going to have to pull into this... into the overpower is what I'm going to say, which means I'm going to give it just a little bit of overpower here to compensate, and just kind of breaking the circle there. Not too bad. If you want, you could play in a tailwind on the right hand side with an extra mile and a Zerk directly to the second fairway to get this one much closer. However, that's a difficult shot trying to max overpower with that extra mile, and I think this is going to be safer more often than not. So second shot here is kind of between clubs a little bit. If I've got a tailwind angle from this position, I would definitely play that max endbringer shot. Depending on the angle, it's anywhere from 20 to 25%. But in this situation, I elect to give it, I think, a tiny little bit of topspin. And I'm playing it from, basically you could play rings from min here if you're familiar with that concept. That's going to be, really the best and most accurate way to play that min distance thorn shot. However, I'm just kind of eyeballing it a little bit here as per, little rookie vibes, right? I mean, we are still working through this game, every single one of us, and there's so many ways to approach some of these shots. I'm trying to just give you a good general vibe. Great, just misses. You know where the perfect was. Let's go to number 7. Hole number 7, I've just got a Quasar and a Grizzly here, or like I said earlier, whatever long iron you have with the best ball guide. I end up playing here 2 bars of left spin, 1 bar of backspin, and I'm going to give this one anywhere from 10 to 15% max. I found that the 15% was coming in a little bit more consistently, and it's just something you're always going to have to play with when the tournament wind goes live. Second bounce just past the fringe here, but in a strong headwind you can expect that ball guide to condense a little bit and probably get closer to the fringe. This is where the elevation can shift, and the amount of rings we pull will change depending on the direction of that little orange needle. So I've got the perfect away, and you're going to see just how nicely this one wants to play. First bounce, like we said, comes in a bit short, so slows it down slightly, but just on line, and this one will have it down in no time. Hole number 8, bring a Zerk. Get this one down as close as you possibly can. Now, I'm going to bring the extra mile here, going to bring the power 5, and we can reach directly to the second fairway. Now, in this wind, of course. Now, this one, I'm going to end up giving it 1 bar of backspin, just about 1 bar of backspin, about half a bar of backspin, and 2 bars of left spin. And, you know, if you do have the headwind here, we're probably going to play it from that beside that first bunker with a big topper and try to get that second bounce to go over the bunker and then the bunker in front of the hole. And then you're going to play the Endbringer shot. But in this situation with the crosswind or a tailwind, please play Demic, please, for our rookie friends. That's what we want every time, okay? You're going to bounce it directly here, slow it down a little bit, and this one can be a hole in one. It's going to be very, very close for very many people, and I hope that includes you. Hole number 9, lots of ways you could play this one. I set up with a power 3 ball, max top 1 right, and then I'm going to switch to the Zerk because of that headwind, and it will give me a little bit of room to adjust, and it's going to make that second shot a lot more possible. Again, if you've got a crosswind or a tailwind, stick with the power 3 ball, and depending on the level of your second club, you might not really want to play the sniper. You might go again with that longer club philosophy, the Viper or the big dog, to keep it safer. But in this situation, you know, grip it and rip it here. Max overpower. You know, slight greats are typically safe. Slight great lefts, not always, but get it as far as you can down this first fairway. Second shot, you'll see here, you know, we can reach. We're getting there. A horizon rough bump is another option here. Keep that in mind, depending on the wind direction, of course. I'm looking at the rough bump with the sniper just to see, you know, what's going on. But ultimately here, you know, we're going to play it with as much right spin as we've got and a little bit of top spin. If you've got the tailwind, you might use like a bar of backspin. And the idea is just to get this one as close as possible. You know, depending if you've got the perfect setup, you could be dialing in for albatross here, but traditionally, and I don't think it's changed much, this is usually, you know, a half a bar of right curl just to get it close. It's usually an eagle and run hole, but I'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can get a little closer. Don't forget to check the website, erelicgaming.com, for free notes. Thank you for watching, and good luck to you out in the tournament.